You survived month 1. The traffic didn't kill you. You figured out the money. You even learned to say Ngon Lam. You think you've got Vietnam figured out. You don't, because there's a second wave of surprises waiting for every long-term foreigner here. The ones that don't show up in week 1. The ones that show up when you're paying rent, opening a bank account, trying to get a driver's license, or just trying to survive Tet. Today, we're back with part 2. 12 more things that genuinely catch foreigners off guard after they've settled into life in Vietnam. This is season 2, and some of these are even bigger surprises than the ones in part 1. Let's get into it. If you watched our first video, you already know Vietnam is one of the fastest growing hubs for expats, remote workers, and retirees in Southeast Asia. People from more than 100 countries now call this place home. But living here long term means running into systems that work completely differently from what you're used to. Not worse, just different. And today's list covers the surprises that hit people after they've already settled in. The deeper layer nobody warns you about. Let's start with something that will follow you everywhere you go. Number 1. The paperwork obsession. Vietnam runs on paper. Physical paper. Stamped, signed, and notarized paper. You'll open a bank account and be asked for a notarized copy of your passport. Not a photo. Not a scan, a physically stamped copy from a notary office. You'll rent an apartment and need the same thing again. Get a phone contract. Same thing. Foreigners are often stunned by how often just show your passport turns into, we need 3 notarized copies, a translation, and your landlord's paperwork too. The fix is simple once you know it. Get 5 to 10 notarized copies of your passport and visa made early on at any notary office. They're cheap and quick. Keep both physical and scanned copies on hand at all times, and expect almost everything official to take one extra step longer than you'd expect back home. Number 2. Vietnam never goes quiet. This one surprises almost everyone who moves into a residential area. Vietnam is loud, not occasionally loud, structurally loud. Neighborhood loudspeakers announce news and reminders early in the morning, especially in older or more local areas. Karaoke culture is everywhere, and it's not confined to karaoke bars. Portable speakers, birthday parties, random Tuesday afternoons, all fair game. Construction can start early and run for months if you're near a new building. This isn't rudeness, it's a different relationship with public and private space. If quiet matters to you, it changes how you should choose where to live. Practical tip. Before signing any lease, visit the building at different times of day, including early morning and evening. What sounds peaceful at 2 p.m. can sound very different at 7 a.m. Number 3. Opening a bank account is harder than it looks. On paper, foreigners can open a Vietnamese bank account. In practice, it depends heavily on your visa type, your paperwork, and which branch you walk into. Some banks will only open accounts for foreigners with a work permit or a temporary residence card. Others are more flexible, but require in-person visits, biometric verification, and a registered local phone number tied to your name. Digital banking in Vietnam has also moved towards stronger identity verification in recent years, which means more foreigners are being asked to complete extra identity steps before their account works fully. What actually helps? Bring every document you have, not just your passport, visa, temporary residence card if you have one, proof of address, and your phone contract. Ask other expats locally which bank branch was actually foreigner-friendly for them. This varies more by branch than by bank. And don't leave this until you urgently need it. Start the process early. Number 4. You probably can't legally ride that motorbike. This is one of the most overlooked legal risks for foreigners in Vietnam. Riding a motorbike over 50cc without a valid Vietnamese driving license or an international driving permit that Vietnam actually recognizes is technically illegal, even if you rented the bike legally and even if nobody stops you for months. The real danger shows up if you're ever in an accident. Without a valid license, your travel insurance may refuse to cover you, and you could be held more financially and legally responsible for the incident. Many foreigners ride for years without an issue, until the one day it matters most. What to actually do? Check whether your home country's international driving permit is on Vietnam's recognized list, since not all IDPs qualify. If it isn't, look into converting your foreign license at the local transport department or taking the local motorbike test. And always confirm your travel or health insurance explicitly covers motorbike accidents before you rely on it. Number 5. You can't actually own the property. A lot of foreigners fall in love with an apartment and start thinking about buying. Here's the part that surprises almost everyone. Foreigners in Vietnam generally cannot own land. Land in Vietnam belongs to the state, and individuals hold usage rights, not full land ownership. For condos and apartments, foreign ownership is allowed but capped, typically limited to a percentage of the units in any given building, and usually tied to leasehold terms of around 50 years, renewable rather than permanent. This means the buying foreigners do here is very different from buying property back home. If property ownership is part of your plan, the advice is simple. Always work with an independent lawyer, not just the seller's agent. Confirm the building's foreign ownership quota hasn't already been filled, and read the exact terms of what you're actually acquiring. Usage rights, not land title. Number 6. Tet shuts down the entire country. If you're not prepared for this, it will catch you completely off guard. Tet, the Lunar New Year, is the single biggest holiday in Vietnam, and for about a week, sometimes longer, the country effectively pauses. Many small businesses close. Staff travel home to their families, sometimes for the entire period. Prices for flights and hotels spike dramatically in the days before and after. Even everyday things, your favorite pho stall, your usual laundry service, your landlord's maintenance guy, can disappear for a week or two with little warning. Foreigners who don't plan for this often find themselves stuck without services they assumed would always be available. The fix: mark Tet on your calendar the moment you know the dates. Stock up on essentials beforehand, and don't schedule anything urgent. Visa renewals, big purchases, important repairs for the 2 weeks around it. Number 7. The bathroom situation will surprise you. This one is small, but it catches almost every newcomer at least once. Squat toilets are still common, especially outside major cities and in older buildings. Many bathrooms use a handheld hose instead of, or alongside, toilet paper. And in a lot of plumbing systems, especially older ones, toilet paper isn't meant to be flushed at all. There's usually a small bin beside the toilet for that instead. None of this is unusual here. It only feels unusual if you weren't expecting it. Practical tip: carry a small pack of tissues when you're out. Not every public restroom provides it, and get comfortable checking for that little bin before you flush. Small adjustment, big relief once you know it. Number 8. The titles will confuse you for months. Vietnamese doesn't really have a neutral word for you. Instead, people use family-based titles depending on age and relationship. Nhe for an older brother figure, Chi for an older sister figure, M for someone younger, and several more depending on the context. Foreigners often find this completely disorienting at first. You might be called by some people and Ansh or Chi by others, sometimes in the same day. It's not random. It reflects respect and relationship, not fluency or friendliness. The tip that helps most: don't overthink it early on. Locals don't expect foreigners to get this perfectly. Just notice the patterns, ask when you're unsure, and understand that being called different titles by different people is completely normal here, not a mistake anyone is making. Number 9. Everyone disappears at lunch. This one throws off a lot of newly arrived foreigners trying to run errands. Midday closures and long lunch breaks are common across Vietnam, especially outside major city centers and at government offices. Roughly from 11:30 to 1:30, sometimes later, many small shops, local government counters, and even some banks slow down or close entirely. Show up at a government office at 12:15 expecting quick service, and you might just find a locked door and a sign you can't quite read yet. The fix: Plan errands, especially anything official, for the morning or mid to late afternoon, and build in buffer time for anything involving government paperwork, which, as we covered earlier, is already a process on its own. Number 10. Working legally is harder than people assume. A lot of foreigners arrive planning to freelance, teach English, or work informally while living in Vietnam. Here's the part that surprises people. Working in Vietnam, even informally, generally requires a valid work permit and the appropriate visa category, not just a valid tourist or business visa. Enforcement has become noticeably stricter in recent years, particularly for teaching jobs and in-person work. Getting caught working without proper authorization can lead to fines, visa complications, or, in serious cases, deportation. Remote work for a company based outside Vietnam sits in more of a legal gray area and is treated very differently by different authorities, so it's worth getting current, specific advice rather than assuming. The takeaway: if you plan to work here, even part-time, talk to a licensed visa or legal service before you start, not after someone asks questions. This is general information, not legal advice. Rules do change, so always confirm your specific situation with a licensed professional. Number 11. The weather is not what you think. Most people picture Vietnam as one climate: hot, humid, tropical, all year round. That's only true for part of the country. Hanoi and the north have a real winter. Temperatures can drop into the low teens Celsius, with gray skies and damp cold that feels colder than the number suggests, because most buildings aren't built with heating in mind. Central Vietnam deals with a distinct rainy season, with heavy flooding risk in certain months. The south, around Saigon and the Mekong Delta, stays warm nearly year-round, but has its own wet and dry seasons. Foreigners who move north expecting Southeast Asian heat are often caught completely unprepared for a genuinely cold, damp winter, with no insulation in most apartments. The fix: research the specific region you're moving to, not just Vietnam as a whole, and pack accordingly, especially if you're heading north between November and February. Number 12. Personal space means something different here. This one is subtle, but it affects daily life constantly. Staring is more common and less loaded in Vietnam than in many Western countries. Being looked at, especially in smaller towns or areas with fewer foreigners, isn't usually hostile. It's often just curiosity. Physical space in public also works differently. Queues can feel looser, crowds can feel closer, and personal space on public transport or in markets is generally smaller than what many foreigners are used to. None of this is meant as rudeness. It's a different cultural default around space and attention. The adjustment that helps most, a friendly nod or smile, usually resolves any awkwardness instantly, and over time, most foreigners stop noticing it altogether. It becomes just part of the background of daily life. So that's 12 more things that genuinely surprise foreigners once they're settled into life in Vietnam. The ones worth remembering most: get your paperwork sorted early and keep copies on hand always. Never ride without a license that's actually valid here. Understand what you're really buying before you sign any property contract. Mark Tet on your calendar the moment the dates are announced. And if you plan to work here, get proper advice before you start, not after. None of these 12 things make Vietnam a harder place to live. They just mean the country runs on its own logic. And once you understand that logic, daily life here gets remarkably smooth. If Part 2 helped you get ahead of surprises Part 1 didn't cover, let us know in the comments. Which one of these did you not expect? And if you're planning a long-term move to Vietnam, check out our other videos on visas, housing, and daily life here. We've got you covered for every stage of the journey. See you in the next one.